Okay, so as we're doing, let's just do that. Okay, just doing this example, we just got cut off, but we were at a point where we basically saying the asset was basically moved from wholly being non-taxable to now being wholly taxable. We spoke about the original value that we bought the asset for, which was 600,000, and we got the open market value of 900,000. And we went on to say for us to get an input VAT, which is a relief, because in this direction, SARS would have to basically recognize our input VAT, because it's not like it's going in the opposite direction. In this direction, we're having like an exempt supply, which was previously an exempt supply, to now being a taxable supply from 100% to 100%. We spoke about those details. So we said that we would then get a rate based on the lower of 900,000, which is the open market value, or the 600,000, which would have been the adjusted cost, apply the tax fraction, and the answer that we came through to was 78,000 rands, 78,261 after rounding off, basically. And this would be the input VAT that we have to recognize, even to come from that situation. Whereas with the partly taxable to wholly non-taxable, we had two legs in that, basically, where we recognize total amount of the actual amount based on open market value for that output VAT levied to source based on open market value times the 100% percentage times the actual tax fraction. And then we also had to recognize a relief of an input VAT that basically spoke about the non-taxable use percentage just before the change was actually effected times the actual lower of market value or adjusted cost times the actual tax fraction. So those are the differences that we have to look into when we're thinking about a situation in terms of wholly and partly taxable taxable supplies, or wholly from wholly non-taxable to wholly taxable, basically, which is this particular example. And we dealt with other examples where we basically had to have like change in use, where the actual percentage was not really changing in its entirety, but it was changing based on the aggregated 10% percentage, which was then equated to be a difference that would deem the change to actually be recognized, looking at the direction as to whether the asset was coming from a percentage that was previously a smaller percentage of being in taxable supply to a higher percentage being taxable supply. And the inverse is also true as well. And that was for particular situations where we had things like, change in use adjustments that had to be recognized. All right, and just also bear in mind the question of having to apply those change in use former examples of your more than 10% to obviously think about the requirement of us having to have a capital asset that has a value of more than 40,000 rands exclusive of the VAT amount that would qualify for that asset to actually be within those transactions. Take that into mind, of course, and also take the actual notion of making yourself be reminded of the portion of the adjusted cost that has to play a role within that being a comparison of your market value, and obviously using the lower of the two, where change in use adjustment would be playing a part, except for the criterion that would require you to likely be recognizing output VAT, which is mostly going to be for south side, So when it comes to SARS, in most cases they'll be applying no comparison between open market and lower cost, but rather they would be wanting to claim at the higher tax rate as high as possible. So that would make sense why SARS would levy the output VAT in most cases at open market value. And those are basic scenarios that you'll likely be poised with. And this is the closing of this lecture 2. It was quite a long one, but this is what we'd likely be getting tested at, because these are topics that we can't run away from. Getting an asset coming from one division to the next, and all of those dynamics just coming into play. So we just have to be very aware of such things. And that's basically how we close this lesson. It's been a long one, but I hope that we've made a difference where possible. We do get tongue-tied sometimes, and we somehow repeat things that could slightly be a waste of time, and sometimes we may just be saying a wrong word there and that can easily throw off somebody. So I hope we haven't experienced too much of that, as we are learning in this process. So yeah, I'm looking forward to also seeing you in our lecture 3. All right, then, thank you.